This is the book of Matthew, chapter 7, verse 15. Beware of false prophets, which come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are raving wolves. Verse 16. Ye shall know them by their fruits. Do men gather grapes of thorns, or figs of thistles? Brakata Yahweh, Brakata yahawashi. Brakata Yahweh, Brakata yahawashi. Yahweh is the name who the world ignorantly calls God, and yahawashi is his son who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. First and foremost, I want to give all praises and all glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahawashi, Bahashem, Ruach HaKodesh. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who grew well and taught us this truth. They are the true teachers for the nation of Israel on earth today. And salutation to the Akim out there pushing this truth and sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth and risking their life for Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh's sake. I'm Brother Samak from the GMS Miami camp. And yes, the reason why I brought out the book of Matthew, chapter 7, verse 15 through 16, is that I came across this article today where the government of Denmark, the country of Denmark, is paying out millions of their currency to the children and their family harmed, injured by these jabs. And that's why I brought out the book of Matthew, chapter 7, verse 15 through 16. Because there are several pseudo-Hebrew Israelites groups out there that were telling their congregation and anyone who listened to them to go ahead and take this experimental procedure. Okay? Exhibit A. The head of ISUPK, General Yahana.
I'm gonna be real about something with these vaccines since the whole vaccine jumped off today, right? So I want to be real about it. First of all, everybody should take the vaccine.
This is a false prophet. This is a false prophet. This is who Yahawashi was speaking about. Yahawashi, who the world only calls Jesus, telling us to beware of false prophets like this individual right here. Okay? Again, hot off the press, you have a government of a country openly admitting that these jabs caused harm to children, healthy Danish children who faced a low risk of becoming seriously ill with C19. However, all right, they were, it says here, encouraged, but we know that was a lie. We know arms were twisted, threats were made. You can lose your job. Oh, for children's sake, parents were threatened that they can lose their children. Parents were told, no, you can't go to this school because you don't want to take, all right, you can't go to this school if if you do not take this experimental procedure. So we're going to disregard encourage because we know that was a total lie. But the point is, you have false prophets, Exhibit A, General Yohana of the ISUPK telling his congregation and those that listen to him to go ahead and take this experimental jab. This is an example of a false prophet. Okay? Beware. This is who yahawashi, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus, told us to look out for. Okay? yahawashi, all right, put us on game. And he set up, all right, his prophets out of great millstone through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahawashi to warn our people of these false prophets. Because we said, start with our apostle elders, do not take this procedure, do not take this jab. All right? Let's keep playing.
Okay? Stop that bullshit about the vaccine. Right. Now on the flip side, I understand why black people don't want to take the vaccine. Black people don't want to take the goddamn vaccine because they don't trust your white ass. That's what it really comes down to. Black people.
Well, yeah, because there's a history. Okay, there is documentation of these Edomites who are so-called white people today of being disingenuous, meaning being a devil and harming us. All right? Especially in the medical field. Let's look this up. How many harmful did the U.S. Here we go. There's no official or definite total number, man, of unethical experiments conducted by the U.S. government on so-called black, Hispanic, and Native American populations. Right. All right. They can't put a number on it because there were so many. As many historical projects span decades involving overlapping federal agencies or remained classified for long periods. So when we say the so-called white man's the devil, all right, it's a fact. Who runs the so-called government? The so-called white man, all right? Whether he wants to call himself American, or whether he wants to call or whether he wants to call himself a JJ, a 1948, or a small hat, all right? But they're all the biblical Edomites. Fact. However, academic research, investigative reviews, and historical documentation, so there's a paper trail, most notably medical ethicist Harriet Washington's book, Medical Apartheid. Ooh, that's a good book. Maybe I should find that. Let me write that down. Medical Apartheid. I think I should look into it. Not a maybe. I think I should look into it. Apartheid. All right, just wrote it down. Reveal long-standing systematic pattern involving pattern recognition. This is something we here at Great Millstone Miami have been saying a lot. Pattern recognition. Okay. This is all right. This is how you know who has a high IQ. Systematic pattern involving dozens of major federally funded projects and dozens of individual test subjects. The prominent documented instances of government-backed harmful human experimentation are categorized below by the targeted demographics. Tuskegee syphilis study. All right, everybody should know this. Okay? They gave syphilis, all right, to 600, all right, Israelite men, mainly from the tribe of Judah. Holmesburg prison experiments, funded partly by the U.S. Army. Yes, the U.S. military is wicked and evil because it's ran and governed by the so-called white man, Esau Edom. Researchers tested toxic chemicals like dioxin, component agent orange, skin bleaching agents, and pharmaceuticals on predominantly Israelite men, mainly of the southern kingdom, mainly Judah, because Judah's the head tribe. Okay? Total body irradiation. The Department of Defense, another organization that oversees and guides the military, funded experiments at the University of Cincinnati where low-income, predominantly Israelites in general, cancer patients were exposed to intense, painful radiation levels to study its effects on soldiers, causing severe cognitive and physical trauma. Right, we were the guinea pigs. We were the trial run, us. All right, because that's how much hatred these Edomites have towards us. So when they push this jab out, all right, pattern recognition, General Yohana, ISUPK, and IUIC, even though they flip-flopped, all right, that's a dangerous organization, double-minded in all their ways. That's a dangerous organization to follow when they constantly flip-flop, all right? They're like a woman, all right? So when you hear these organizations, these groups, all right, say, take this experiment, all right, you got to question and say, all right, nah, y'all out of your mind. Y'all got to, and then you got to, okay, come to the understanding the truth that they are false prophets. Early gynecological surgery. While predating the modern U.S. federal government's research agencies, early American medical infrastructure relied heavily on enslaved bodies. This is something Elder Lawyer from GMS Miami, all right, always brings out. Dr. J. Marion Sims performed dozens of agonizing experimental surgeries without anesthesia on enslaved women, mainly of the southern kingdom, mainly Judah, because again, the head tribe, like Anarcha, Betsy, and Lucy. Let's go to the northern kingdom, okay? Because this proves who the tribes are, man. This proves who the Israelites are. All right? Guatemala syphilis experiments. The U.S. government, again, ran and governed by the so-called white men, the biblical Edomites, funded and directly managed a program that intentionally infected roughly 1,300 vulnerable Guatemalans. Okay? Including prisoners, soldiers, and psychiatric patients. Look at that. With syphilis and gonorrhea to test the prophylactic capabilities of penicillin. Again, the guinea pigs. Puerto Rico, contraceptive trials. Okay? Federal and private U.S. researchers utilize high-density, low-income housing projects in Puerto Rico to test early iterations of birth control. Now, you notice how they went after Ephraim, all right, Joseph's sons, because what is Ephraim? What is Ephraim's name? All right, the Hebrew word is what? Aparayam, which means what? I am fruitful. All right. This devil knows who we are. This devil knows, all right, we are the Israelites. All right. What does it mean, I am fruitful? Meaning they'll have a lot of children. All right. And that small island produces a lot of Ephraimites. So you don't think the devil knows who we are? Let's go to the Gadites, right? Radioactive iodine 131 thyroid studies. The U.S. the U.S. military. Why do you think the Lord is making sure the U.S. military stays in this fucking war? Because they got to get their judgment for all the wickedness they done to our people. The U.S. Air Force administered radioactive iodine 131 capsules to Alaskan natives. You know, this is spiritual. Now it makes more sense why America wanted Alaska, because the tribes were there. Okay? And prophecy had to be fulfilled. That in the book of Jeremiah 50, this just came to my mind. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together, and all that took them captives held them fast. They refused to let them go. Right, oppressed together. This is oppression, man. That's why when you see an individual like this, I'm controlling my tongue. I really want to say some really okay. I want to drop some F-bombs. But I'm being professional about it. When you see an individual like this telling you to go take the jab, and then openly admitting that the so-called white man, okay, has done us dirty, this is a false prophet. This is why the Lord is going to get you pseudo-Hebrew Israelites, man. All right? Lest you repent. But the way this individual is moving and his congregation, a lot of them are in their pride and their pump, and a lot of them took the bag. They were compromised. All right? Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 33. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were pressed together, and all that took them captives held them fast. They refused to let them go. Right. And this is where? In Babylon. Jeremiah 50 is what? A prophecy against Babylon. Okay? All the 12 tribes are here in Babylon, the great America. Okay? Being oppressed. All right? And this is where the biggest salvation is coming out of. America, Babylon the Great. Can't you see why we need salvation? Yet you got this false prophet telling you to go listen to the so-called white man and take his experimental procedure. All right, let's go into this word oppressed. Hey man, you pseudo-Hebrew Israelites, man, the Lord is going to get you. Let's get some Hebrew. So the Hebrew word for oppressed is I shakwa, right? This is an I. This is a sha. And this is a kwa. All right? I shakwa, which means to press upon, oppress, violate, do violence, get deceitfully, wrong. Let's go back. Is this not to do wrong? To violate? To commit violence? Forced and coerced sterilization. The federal managed Indian Health Service. Again, this is the between Gad and Reuben, engaged in widespread unconsented sterilization practices. Investigations led by Senator James Oborezek, however the fuck you pronounce his name, in 1976 revealed that thousands of Israelite women from the northern kingdom, more specifically Gad, were sterilized under threat of losing welfare or health care benefits. Sound familiar with this jab? So this is nothing new, okay? Or without standard informed consent during routine procedures. What the fuck is this? Havasupai genetic data misuse. While initiated by the Arizona State University. Yeah, this is a wiki university. This prominent case highlighted systematic issues with tribal research. Blood samples gathered to study diabetes among the Havasupai tribe. Are they based out of Arizona? Hold on, let me just double check. Yeah. Havasupai tribe, known as the people of the blue-green water, are federally recognized Native American nation who have lived in the deep canyons and plateaus of the Grand Canyon for over 800 years. Okay? How did they get over here? You read in 2nd Esdras chapter 13 how they got over here. Okay? These are the Israelites. All right? But of course, they're into idol worshiping, and that's why the Lord used this devil, Esau, Edom, to punish us. Okay? Were used without consent. So they without consent, meaning, all right, they were unaware. They didn't approve for genetic research on stigmatizing topics like schizophrenia and inbreeding. What the fuck? Oh, Esau's the fucking devil, bro. So there you go. All right? So let's hear this false prophet again.
Ass. That's what it really comes down to. Black people do not trust what white people gonna put in that goddamn vaccine because they don't watch white people destroy them over and over and over and over again. And if we ain't learned nothing from Nazi Germany, we learned that them Germans, they knew how to kill you right through their medical system. They was killing every injured or maimed or paraplegic in the entire country. Was doping them up, killing them, doing all kinds of shit to them. So I understand how black people think, but take the goddamn vaccine shot. Stop listening to the conspiracy theorists out here.
Motherfucker, man. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I have to. This is nasty work, man. All right? This is diabolical. This is why the Lord's going, okay, break this shit up like the apostles and elders have been saying. Gonna break up this organization. Again, Matthew chapter 7 verse 15. Beware of false prophets which come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are raving wolves. 16. Ye shall know them by their fruits. Do men gather grapes of thorns or figs of thistles? You see? Okay? Jeremiah chapter 17 verse 5. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, cursed be the man that trusted in man, and maketh flesh his arm, and whose heart, meaning mind, departed from the Lord. Right. Okay? General Yohana is an example, all right, to those that want to trust in man. All right? Instead of going to the Lord, praying to the Lord, asking the Lord, all right, to protect you from this virus. And it was a virus, all right? That's why whenever someone passed away, what did they pass away from? All right, it says C19 pneumonia. And is there a cure for pneumonia? No, because it's a virus. It has to run its course. That's why you go to the herbs. That's why you drink, okay, ginger tea. All right, you eat garlic. All right, this is what our ancestors were doing before all this fucking madness with these fucking experimental, all right, jabs. You got false prophets out there openly saying that this devil, Esau Edom, has been cruel to us, but yet go ahead and take the jab. This mofo. So it's a curse to you that listen to General Yohana, because we here at Great Millstone, starting with our past elders of Great Millstone through the Spirit and Power of Yahawashi, we've been said, don't take that procedure. Who cares if you lose your job? Okay, find another one. You don't trust in the Lord will provide you another one. Okay, He knows we need a job to pay for these funky bills, to put a house to cover shame, right? What's the chief principal things in life, right? All right, food, raiment, water, and a house to cover shame. The Lord knows that. So the fact that you were, okay, scared to lose your job, all right, curse be on you, because, all right, you trust in this world, all right, you trust in this man's system instead of trusting in the Lord, all right, and those that were listening to General Yohana, curse be unto you, and whose heart departed from the Lord Yahweh. For he shall be like the heath in the desert, and shall not see when good cometh, but shall inhabit the parched places in the wilderness, in a salt land and not inhabited. NLT version, they are like stunted shrubs in the desert, with no hope for the future. They will live in the barren wilderness, in uninhabited, salty land. Right. And the Lord is really revealing, all right, those that have no hope, all right, and they're going to go down with this place. And that's why, again, the Lord's going to break up ISUPK, because this is, I mean, come on, this is madness. Now, this is the same individual that said, what? Here, we got to play this, all right, because the RFID chip, which is the mark of the beast, is coming, right? This is the same individual, a false prophet. Check it out.
A lot of you have been such fools for the idea of the microchip being the mark of the beast. You've been so blind to it.
It is. It is. That's why this whole financial system is changing to get cashless society via that blockchain crypto stuff, CBDC. Okay? Because it's being staged. He calls it all for what? For that chip, whether it be in your right hand or your forehead. So that is the mark of the beast.
It was so easily fooled. All somebody had to do is say the microchip is the way you get it's how you get the mark of the beast. You put that chip in you, that's your forehead and your hand. It's ridiculous, man. It is absolutely ridiculous. You think God cares that you put a microchip in your body? You think God cares that you put a microchip in your body?
And the water for the brother from GMS Arkansas, for putting this on his page, because I was able to find it, and of course it came from Elder Yashawamba from out of the GMS Dallas camp. Okay, so you clearly see that who's a false prophet. Okay, and yes, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the God of Israel, cares if you take it or not, because in Revelation 14, What does it say about those that take that mark of the beast, which is the RFID chip? What does it say? Okay. Revelation 14:9. And the third angel followed, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast and his image, right? The beast represents NATO and the EU, all right, which America is at the helm of, okay? That's the beast. That's why when we say the mark of the beast, what is the beast? NATO and the EU, okay? And his image, right? What do they push out? What image? The ancient Roman ways, okay? Rome, because this is Rome all over again with this technology. But here's the point: receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand. There's a reason why John the Revelator wrote this. There's a reason why yahawashi told the angel, all right, to show John, okay, what to write in the end times. Because the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob does care if you take this device, because there's a penalty. There is a judgment for it. 10. The same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation. And he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. So God does care if you take, okay, this microchip. All right? And we clearly see the pattern recognition with this false prophet right here. All right? Because he's going to tell his congregation to take that device when it comes out. Beware false prophets. This is a false prophet. Again, the reason why I'm doing this lesson is because you have now a government, a country, admitting that this jab has injured, harmed children that were healthy. And they are willing to compensate those children and their family, meaning give them money. Which money's not going to do shit, man. This is a long-lasting effects, all right? Guarantee you ask those children, all right, if you had to do it all over again, would you take this procedure, all right? And those children are going to say, hell no. The families are going to say, hell no. You can't pay me enough, all right? Because being healthy is better than having riches. All right? Being able to walk and talk, all right? And function normally is better than riches and money. Last one and I'll close out. 1 John chapter 4. Well, no, I got two more. Before this one, we got to go to this one. Ezekiel chapter 22 verse 25. This, when I read this verse, I'm like, IUCPK, IUIC, facts, because it's pertaining to sell out wicked Israelites. There is a conspiracy of her prophets in the midst thereof, like a roaring lion raving in the prey. Yes, General Yohanan is a great example. They have devoured souls. They have taken the treasure and precious things, right? Because really, the reason why ICPK and IUIC, okay, are pushing to our people that they're the Hebrew Israelites, all right, is mainly there's a underlying or hidden motive. And it's for money. They want numbers. They want money so they can have the lavish lifestyle, the leadership. That's the only reason why, all right? There's money involved. If there was no money involved, they will not be teaching. They will not be, what's it called? So fervent, all right? Creating classes and putting up videos. However, because there's money involved, this is why they're pushing out, who the 12 tribes are. All right, which is the truth, but there's a ulterior motive. It's not sincere. It's not genuine. Okay. They have made her many widows in the midst of. Right. So let's go into the conspiracy part, because this is powerful right here. Quashar, right? Quashar. This is a qua. This is a shah. This is a ra. Quashar, which means what? Conspiracy, treason, unlawful alliance. This is why we believe he took the bag. This is why we believe he is in bed with Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. Okay? Unlawful alliance with the devil. The fact that he could say in the same sentence, take the jab. However, I know you can't trust this so-called white man because all the things he's done to you. Then he gives an example about, the Germans and their experimentations using the medical institutions. And then out of the same sentence, however, go take the jab and stop believing conspiracy theories. I'm trying to keep my tongue. I'm trying to hold back my tongue, but this is nasty work, man. Mofo. This is disgusting, bro. This is disgusting, man. The Lord is going to judge. The Lord is going to judge, man. Straight up. The Lord is going to break. I am totally in agreement with the apostles and elders saying when they say that the Lord is going to break up ISUPK and IUIC. 26. Her priests have violated my law and have profaned my holy things. They have put no difference between the holy and profane. Neither have they showed difference between the unclean and the clean. Go take the jab. Yeah. I know. You can't trust the so-called white man, black man, because all this evil shit he's done. But go take the jab. And have hid their eyes from my Sabbaths. Right. Oh, that's another thing. All right. This man has polluted the Sabbath by saying they could commit a sodomy on the Sabbath, and they could have sex on the Sabbath. Yep. Because ISUPK pushed out that sodomy doctrine, all right, to their wife, committing a sodomy to their wife. See, the Lord had to make an announcement with that, because that's all facts. ISUPK said it is lawful not only to have sex on the Sabbath, but to commit sodomy to your wife. That's nasty work. That's nasty work. And I am profane among them. Yup. And I am profane among them. What does this say in the NLT version? Your priests have violated my instructions to follow my holy things. They make no distinction between what is holy and what is not. And they do not teach my people the difference between what is ceremonially clean and unclean. They disregard my Sabbath days so that I am dishonored among them. Yup. Have sex on the Sabbath. And if you do have sex on the Sabbath, it's okay to sodomize your wife. That's nasty work. IUIC says the same thing. All right? That you can have sex on the Sabbath. This is wicked, man. This is why the Lord's going to break these organizations up. 27. Her princes in the midst thereof are like wolves raving and the prey to shed blood and to destroy souls, to get dishonest gain. Right, because it all goes back to the money. It all goes back to the money. When it's all said and done, when you look at it for what it is, it's not genuine that they're going out to teach our people that they're Israelites. Okay? It's not sincere. There's an ulterior motive. It's about money. It's about the fucking dollar. That's why I can't wait till this fucking dollar crashes out. All right? I can't wait till this fucking money system is done with. Because Jake will sell their own people out for some funky FRNs. It is a fact. Last one, and I'll close out. 1 John chapter 4, verse 1. Beloved, believe not every spirit, but try the spirits, whether they are of the Most High. Because many false prophets are gone out into the world. And this is, again, a false prophet. This is an example of a false prophet. Two, hereby know ye the spirit of the Most High. Every spirit that confesses that yahawashi Mashiach has come in the flesh is of the Most High, right? And you can, this is how you cut these plantation Christians that talk about, oh, Jesus is a spirit, you know? No, he came in the flesh, man. He's a so-called black man. And he's extremely angry. All right? But yeah, this is why you have to, try the spirit, man. You have to look at pattern recognition. All right? This is a great example. All right? Pattern recognition. He's a false prophet. He told his congregation and those that listen, all right, to their organization to go ahead and take the jab. All right? And he's saying, when it comes to this RFID chip, which is the mark of the beast, all right, that God doesn't care that if you take this chip, all right, so go ahead and take this chip. That's what he's saying. All right? Read between the lines. So he's a false prophet, all right, and the Lord's going to judge him accordingly. I believe it. I believe the Lord's got something special for General Yohana, okay, and his leadership. Facts. So, Lord willing, all right, this lesson's edifying. Look, man, all right, I love to use articles, all right, to do my lessons because, all right, how do you speak against this? Okay, you got now a country, a government openly admitting to the world that, yeah, we're going to pay our citizens who were harmed in this experimental jab, all right? Millions. We're going to pay them. We're going to compensate them, all right? And this is going to be a snowball effect because it's not going to be just this government. There's going to be many governments, all right? However, I don't see America paying out those that were harmed by this jab, all right? Because I think there's a law. Is there a law regarding COVID, well, C19? There it is. Yes, federal law shields C19 jab manufacturers from standard personal injury lawsuits, primarily through the Public Readiness and Emergency Preparedness Act. Under this legislation, individuals cannot sue major pharmaceutical companies like Pfizer or Moderna in civil court for standard side effects or injuries. You see that? Individuals. All right? And they put this in. So, again, false prophet. And the Lord is going to deal with individuals like him. All right? That's all I got to say. So with that, I want to give all praise and all glory to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahawashi Ba'Shem Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who grew well and taught us this truth. They are the true teachers for the nation of Israel on earth today. And citation to the Akim out there pushing this truth in sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth and risking their life for Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahawashi's sake. Hey, keep pushing, keep fighting, keeps, don't look back. And don't and if you are still window shopping, all right, just look at the facts, man. It's clearly evident that ISUPK and IUIC are not the prophets. It's a fact. All right, just look at the facts. Look at the evidence, man. Okay? We at Great Millstone, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahawashi, we've been sincere with, telling you the truth, man. All right? Just being sincere and honest, man. These other camps, these other groups are not honest. They're not sincere, man. Just look at the facts. So yeah. For the few and for the few sisters that are watching, keep studying, and when you pray to cover. We're almost out of here, man. Shalom.